I became aware during the show of an email that Tom Brady has sent out. He's got a newsletter. You sign up for it, and you get it. And that's the platform, Chris, that he has used to address what was the story of the week last week. His clear and obvious conflict of interest that has been hiding in plain sight for more than a year, but became obvious and evident when he was sitting in the coaching box last Monday night with the Las Vegas Raiders in their game against the Chargers. That's when everybody recognized this doesn't make sense. There's something weird about this, and it's called a conflict of interest. And a conflict of interest in and of itself isn't a problem. It's what you do about the conflict of interest, how you avoid it, how it arises, how you handle it, how you manage it. Some conflicts of interest can be managed, some cannot be. But first, you have to acknowledge that there is one, which Tom Brady will never do, which is a problem in and of itself. He presumably paid someone a decent amount of money to give him some buzzwords to utilize over and over again in this newsletter. Paranoia and distrust are the labels applied to those like me and pretty much everyone else with basic common sense who recognize it's impossible to be the best possible broadcaster for the NFL that you can be and the best possible owner of the Raiders that you can be. Paranoia and distrust. And then the other side of the coin is duty and integrity, because that's how he's dealing with the situation. So, look, we see this now everywhere. Don't trust the media. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust your own eyes. Trust me. I know better. Why is it not a conflict of interest? Because I won't let it be one. Because I put the interest of the game above my own interest. Yes, my personal interests would seem to conflict here, but I'm thinking about the game of football. I'm not thinking about myself. Please take my word for it. And I have to address this, Chris, and then I'll shut up. At the end, he says this. Well, at the end of what we clipped out, there's more after it. When you're blinded by distrust, it's hard to see anything other than self-interest. People who are like that, particularly to a chronic pathological degree, are telling on themselves. They're showing you their worldview and how they operate. They're admitting that they can only conceive of interests that are selfish, that they cannot imagine a person doing their job for reasons that are greater than themselves. That is so freaking naive, Tom. Look, I'm very wary of bullshit because I spent 19 years being lied to my face by witnesses, by clients, by other lawyers. And when you litigate for a living, you develop a very sensitive filter for when people are doing something they shouldn't do. And that doesn't mean I'm going around looking for all the stuff I can get away with. And I know that for some people, if you are focused on, like if it's some really weird thing, like you're worried about somebody doing that, it's like, why are you worried about that? Is that how you operate? But my worldview was framed by a generation of practicing law and being lied to and having to sift through bull crap. So I'm very sensitive to when people are playing games with the truth. And I'm also committed to the truth. It's possible to have both. So I'll allow my actions and my own conflicts of interest or lack thereof to speak for themselves in that regard. But this thing, man, I'm surprised this is what he did. Chris, I don't know how much notice it's going to get, but at a certain point, his best play is to just shut up about it.
I think that's what I would have said. Or not, not said or whatever. I just would have let it be. I don't know if you always have to make a comment about everything all the time and let everybody in on every little thought that's going through your brain, because at times too, when you do that, now you have this long thing here where you leave people to dissect it, and then also at times go, well, what do you mean by that? That's kind of insulting, or I don't know, like if I agree with that. So then it opens up another can of worms of being like, okay, wait, you're trying to fix one thing, but now you're kind of annoying me or insulting me with some other stuff here. And that's where I don't know if, yes, but we're in an age here where everybody feels like they got a comment. And, I do believe Brady, in a lot of ways, wants to do right here. He does. I don't argue that. I think, to the point of where
he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand.
That's maybe what I would say.
The situation he's in.
That's what I would maybe say, right? When he says, that they cannot imagine a person doing their jobs for reasons that are greater than themselves. I can understand, yes. he's doing a job at Fox and he likes it and he wants to be good at it and explain the game. I get that. Also, he wants to work for the Raiders and be a part owner and make them better and make them a better organization. And yeah, maybe that's not all about himself, but at some point, yeah, those lines kind of intersect. And I think that's what we're trying to say. Whether you intentionally or unintentionally do it, it's going to happen. You're going to glean and find out things about certain other teams and players that you just wouldn't maybe know if you didn't have your job. Oh, this team secretly likes this guy. Let me go back and tell the Raiders during free agency how valuable they think he is. Or I was on the field pregame, and I always loved this player and thought he was awesome and handles the game right way. But damn, all these coaches told me what a jerk he is behind the scene. And, now I could tell the Raiders and know that, right? I mean, so there are things of that nature that even if you're trying to do your best thing, you're not going to do your best thing because there's going to be a conflict of interest here.
He slipped on Sunday and pointed out how he noticed that DJ Moore, the Bears receiver, is a lot thicker than he thought. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of being on the field as part of your job with Fox. And if you frame it as, I'm really not doing this for myself, I'm doing this for others, right? I mean, he's doing it for the Raiders. He wants them to win. And the phone alert that accompanied this email says, my responsibilities are not to help the Raiders beat the Bears. Well, when you sit in the coaching box, that's the thing. If you're not taking an active role in the performance of the team, then sit with Mark Davis and enjoy the P.F. Chang spread. Act like every other passive investor who just wants to have a piece of a football team and isn't trying to help the football team. He's crossed that line into football operations, and we all know that. It's undeniable. It's another reason, Chris, why you say there's a point where you need to shut up because you're making yourself look less credible the more you talk about it. You're trying to help the Raiders win, and you're trying to make $37.5 million to tell the world about football. Tom, it's not like you're the only one that can do that. And look, I haven't been into the whole criticize Tom Brady's broadcasting chops, but he's not John Madden. And he's not Pat Summerall. And he's never going to be those guys. There are 100 guys that can do the job as well or better than Tom Brady, if not more, especially because he's not allowed to go to practice. He's not allowed to go into team facilities. He's not allowed to have all the information that he could have. The mere fact that they put those guardrails in place is a reflection of the conflict of interest that he refuses to acknowledge exists. I just can't believe this. And I'm surprised and I'm disappointed that he's so thin-skinned. He felt compelled to respond to Dave Portnoy claiming that Tom's getting $75 million from the Saudis for the flag football tournament. He felt compelled to respond to that. Like, why? Why? Do we think you're doing it for free? Oh, it's not 75, it's only 74. Like, it's a shitload of money, whatever it is. I can't believe the rabbit ears he has, and I can't believe that he feels compelled to reach out to people who are just trying to do their jobs and tell their opinions to the world because God forbid we're criticizing Tom Brady. I'm just surprised he's not above that. He should be.
Well, a lot of superstars want people to like them because that's what they're used to and that's what they've been used to, and they don't want to, they love the love and they don't want to be the negative bad guy. And I think there's a lot of sports superstars, music industry, actors that are all like that once you get to the level of fame Tom Brady is at. It is crazy. I don't think we can really imagine it. I mean, he's one of the most popular people in the whole world. We know that as well. But where the comment is just, I don't think helps him a little bit is, yes, what I said there. And then, yeah, when you use some of the phrases about, paranoid and ethical duty and all that type of stuff, I'm sorry. All I know is how to keep it 100% real here. My brain goes into Deflategate a little too and just goes, well, wait, that wasn't necessarily totally ethical and all that. And I think you're opening up people's brains to go there with some of this language that's used. I really like Tom Brady. I as I've told you before, I love being around him. I don't mind listening listening to him. I enjoy his personality. It's everything I've always liked about Tom Brady. The only thing I've ever pushed back about was Deflategate. That's it. I didn't like that because I was like, damn, Tom, you don't need to do that. You're like one of the greatest of all time. I saw you in your prime, and like, shit, nobody could throw the football like you. So I was hurt by it a little bit. But when you say things like this and challenge people and the public and all that, for people like me who think, yeah, he did take part in Deflategate, you open up your brain to that aspect here with some of the language used, and that's at least one thing I would say, and that's why I don't think it was necessary for him to do this.
Well, if this was a trial, if the trial was, does Tom Brady have a conflict of interest, what would happen is his lawyers before the case would say the other side should not be allowed to ever mention Deflategate. Deflategate has nothing to do with this in any way, shape, or form. And the judge says, okay. Then Tom Brady gets up there and he starts spouting off about a lifelong of duty, of integrity, and all doing the right things. You've opened the door at that point. That would be what the judge says. You've opened the door to have your record of
lifelong integrity
questioned.
Right.
And, I always destroy my phone. And we just called the guy the deflator because he lost weight, whatever the
right.
Look, I still believe the NFL screwed that up and failed to prove their case, but I also believe something was going on.
Yeah, right. I hear you.
Tom Brady is going to risk having that brought back into the spotlight the more he fights this. And the bottom line is this, and it's on the NFL. Why did you let him do both jobs? He can't do both of these jobs. No one can do both of these jobs without having a conflict of interest. That's it for now. We'll be back with more PFT Live right after this. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.